drum back, drum back. So in my previous video, we prepped 3 pairs of tarantulas to get them ready for breeding this weekend, which I was able to actually do. I filmed all of it for you guys, and I thought I would go ahead and do a little bit of a voiceover because some of these pairings ended up taking several hours. You'll just have to see what happens. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk a little bit about what this is. So if you've been here a while, then you probably already know what this is, but this is kind of the little contraption I put over my jumping spiders when they lay me an egg sac. So this is one of my Phidippus dox, one of my favorite species of jumping spiders, and she actually laid me an egg sac a while ago. So once I noticed that she laid an egg sac, I kind of watched them develop, and then eventually when I can tell that they're getting to the point where they might start leaving the nest is when I usually take these. So these are just some pantyhose, some nylons, and I just cut the legs off. This is the waist part. I cut the leg part off and I just tie it like this, and that secures them perfectly. So all I have to do is untie this, and then I usually lift this up and I just start collecting the baby jumping spiders as they come because they will escape out of the ventilation holes. And then I usually have some of these cups ready. They come with these lids, and what I like to do is take this little leather tool and I just poke the smallest little holes for ventilation. You can do it on the sides too if you want. But anyway, so I just do that, and I noticed that the dox finally started leaving their web. I very carefully will lift this up. I just want to make sure I don't accidentally squish anything because they are quite small and they sure can get caught just so carefully. Usually when I lift this up and they've come out, they start just like falling out. I think I see one. Nope, not yet. Okay. Oh, I scared mom. Turn it inside out, kind of just gently shake it, and yep, we have one little baby right here. Okay, no more in here as of yet. So yeah, just pop that lid on and we have one of the babies right there. I think I see another baby right, oh, there's a couple. No, there's just one right here. Look how little they are. So yeah, this is a little bit of a lengthy process. It doesn't all happen overnight, you know, but I just find this to be like the easiest, most calming way so that I'm not completely outnumbered. And yeah, now if you are going to pick up one of the slings, let me show you the easiest way to do it is when they're walking around, they leave a little trail, and you want to try to catch this trail just like this and then gently place them in the new thing. Be careful because they're probably still attached. And there you have it. Really simple. I mentioned that I am going to be vending an expo next month. As long as these do okay, these are primarily what I'll be vending. I don't have many Ardens left. Let me show you though. Look how many babies. Still a lot in the egg sac. So they like just started coming out. We have little ones down here. There's lots of places for them to hide in this enclosure. So I have a feeling it is probably going to be quite a process to get them all out. So I'm just going to go ahead and place it over very carefully. And then I like to tuck it right under the 4 corners just so that you know it's not open at all. Pull this and give it a little tie. And there you have it. They are going to be secure. They will slowly wander out, and hopefully I will have lots of little babies for you guys that I can vend at the St. Louis Reptile Expo March 5th. And so with all that said, let's get right into the Valentine's Day pairings that I did over the weekend. I'm really happy with most of the results. Obviously not everything went right. Let's get right into those pairings. First up, we have my Toledo Cattle albopalosis pair, also known as the curly hair. These are the wild form or the Nicaraguan. This is the pair that I expected to be the most successful, and I was a little concerned when I first opened the enclosures and noticed that both of them were hiding. Fortunately, it was really easy to lure the male out, and it's kind of his job to get the female out to mate, so I really didn't have to do anything beyond introducing him to her enclosure. And I wanted to be like really gentle about it by just kind of getting him up on the edge and then seeing if he'll figure out where to go. I didn't want to just kind of drop him in the enclosure like I have in the past, because that doesn't always end up going the best. And just as expected, this male was really ready to go. He immediately knew what was going on. He immediately knew where she was, and he knew where to go. So as you can see, he's on a mission. This part particularly makes me the most nervous because it's going to really dictate how this goes. She might just ignore him, or he might just sit there and not drum or do anything for hours. It's really hard to tell. And also, I've seen a lot of pairings where the female just runs out and eats the male immediately. Fortunately, this male pretty much started drumming as soon as he got close enough, and that's what he's doing with his pedipalps there. It's kind of letting her know that he is here and he's ready to mate. This breeding went by so fast, like they really just got straight to the point. So she noticed he was drumming and started turning around in her hide, which she started to exit eventually.
Drum, 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 drum back, drum back, drum back, drum back, drum back. Drum back. Yes. Yes. Yes.
If you look very closely at his pedipalps, then you can see that he is actually injecting what he needs to impregnate her. So we're going to keep it PG for YouTube, but I think you can narrow it down to what it is and what he's doing. Sketching me out. Oh. Right. She's done. Get out. Get out. There he goes. And there you have it. I was smoothly able to help him get out before she tried munching him. I started really getting sketchy when she started turning, and I saw her fangs, and he kind of kept trying, and I already knew they got some inserts, so I was pretty happy with it and broke it up. Since the first pairing went over great, I decided to take on a challenge, and I brought out the man-eater, the Toledo Cattle Vegans pair, and this male, man, he sucks. I was just trying to point the male in the right direction, but as you can see, he just kept threat posing me, and every time I would poke him, he'd turn around to threat pose the brush instead of moving in the direction I was trying to guide him, which is what he's done every single time that I've tried to pair them. Now Houdini over here, Miss Maneater, she kind of sensed something was up pretty quickly. However, he was not even trying to get over in her enclosure. He must know that she has a reputation and did not want anything to do with it. Once again, I gave him a gentle nudge, trying to get him in the right direction, and I just get threat posed again. I let them sit there for about an hour, and then I decided that I was just going to move on to my next breeding, but I wanted to try this method called shark tanking while I focused on the Grammostola pulchripes. Just because he's super old, I thought I would give him a little bit of a boost to see if he'd go in her enclosure, which he didn't, and I decided to go forward with the shark tanking idea. So the idea basically is to take them in a separate container, Go ahead and put a lid on that container, keep them enclosed, and just put them in with the female in her enclosure. That way there's a barrier. She can't just run up and eat him, but they can still sense each other and they might start drumming, and that will kind of tell you if they're gonna pair or not. Let me just say that this dude is hecka old, okay? And once they get old, sometimes they just aren't usable anymore for mating. They're just too old and they're past their prime and nothing happens. So he's not showing any interest, but I wanted to give him a chance, and that's why I tried this method. I thought that this might go over okay because my female has molted, and I thought that might be the issue, but unfortunately the male continued to just sit there and not do anything, and I ended up leaving him in her enclosure while I worked with the Grammostola pulchripes just to see if anything happens. And finally, we have our Grammostola pulchripes pair, which is Pikachu and this male from my friend Stacy, who is very, very old. I have paired these together several times and nothing has ever happened, so I didn't really have the most optimistic outlook on this pairing, but I wanted to go ahead and give it another go since he is aging, and I figured why not? So I decided that the best course of action would be to actually put this mature male in her enclosure because I didn't really think that she was going to attack him or eat him. I know we had an incident with a broken foot once with a different male, but that was under different circumstances. I decided to hold the lid there just for a few moments just to see what her reaction would be, and she didn't even turn around or do anything. So I decided that it was probably safe to remove the lid and see if they would start drumming or showing any signs. Eventually, the male did surprisingly start drumming. As you can see, he is moving his pedipalps, trying to get the drumming going, but he continued to just face this way in the enclosure. He didn't make any attempts to turn around and walk her way or anything like that. So I gave them about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and neither one of them ever turned around. The male drummed a few times, Pikachu did nothing. He didn't do anything beyond drum a couple times, and I called it, decided it wasn't going to happen, and I might try it again because he did seem interested, but yeah, not interested enough, obviously. Alright, so there you have it. I'm super happy that at least one of the pairings worked out and went really well. That's the one that I really expected to be the most successful. As I've mentioned, the mature males for the other two are quite old. I don't know if they still can mate, but I'm probably going to try the pulchripes at least one more time. Maybe I'll try the vegans again, but I have tried so many times to pair that vegans, and every time he just threat poses me and her in the past. So I don't know if I really want to risk it. He just doesn't really seem like he wants to breed at all. And she's freshly molted, so the fact that she's not really digging it either kind of tells me something's off, something's wrong, and it's just not going to work out. I will keep you guys updated on the Toledo-Cow abelpolosis. I really think that we are going to see some success for that. I hope you guys get spiders for Valentine's Day. I don't know what else to say. Like this video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're not, and you want to be. Don't forget I have an Instagram that is probably way too much. It's @Tarantula.Kat. You can go follow me there. I also have a Patreon podcast and a Teespring. It's all linked down below. I will see you guys soon. Let's get into the Patreon pet picks.